Okay, almost 2 weeks ago, I posted a video called The Intentional Collapse of Elon Musk's Twitter Buyout. This video was not my most popular, to say the very least, owing to the fact that I claimed Elon Musk would directly, intentionally try to exit his buyout contract. I'll try not to rehash too many things during this upload, but I think I should probably put in at least one clip. The simple explanation, in my view personally, is that if he can somehow manage to show that Twitter falsely represented their material conditions before the acquisition, it is very likely that he can exit the buyout and perhaps even not be required to pay the breakup fee, and if he is able to do this, he would walk away having accomplished three things. My theory, not uncommon per se, but certainly not mainstream in the cult of Elon Musk, was that the billionaire would use a material breach of contract excuse, or a breach of material conditions, in order to exit this deal, having liquidated billions of dollars in Tesla stock for the deal at the short-term peak of its share price, while trying to avoid the $1 billion breakup fee in the process. Flash forward about 2 weeks, and here we are. Headlines abound, articles have begun to swirl, and in a letter filed with the SEC, Elon Musk has claimed that Twitter is in material breach of contract, which allows him to exercise his rights and back out of the deal. Presto Changeo, a toxic platform that has no actual value to him, has been used as a cover to liquidate Tesla holdings and dominate specific SEO keywords. For more details on that particular part, you'll have to watch the previous video. Elon Musk has, on numerous different occasions, used his social media power to manipulate Google search results, and it works. He did this with a Tesla whistleblower. I believe he did this preemptively during the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and he most likely did it multiple other times to suppress keywords like funding secured after a debacle with the SEC in 2018. Bottom line, there were upside benefits to this Twitter buyout, regardless of whether or not it was eventually completed. And having leveraged the situation for all it is actually worth, Elon Musk is now, in my opinion, predictably pulling the ripcord and exiting the deal. My honest assessment, it's going to work. And not only will it work for him, it will actually harm Twitter in the process, much akin to kicking the door completely off its hinges when you leave a house. Let's really begin and look at the letter that was published on June 6th, 2022 with the SEC by Elon's legal team. Quote, Mr. Musk does not agree with the characterizations in Twitter's June 1st letter. Twitter has, in fact, refused to provide the information that Mr. Musk has repeatedly requested since May 9th, 2022 to facilitate his evaluation of spam and fake accounts on the company's platform. Twitter's latest offer to simply provide additional details regarding the company's own testing methodologies, whether through written materials or verbal explanations, is tantamount to refusing Mr. Musk's data requests. Twitter's effort to characterize it otherwise is merely an attempt to obfuscate and confuse the issue. Mr. Musk has made it clear that he does not believe the company's lax testing methodologies are adequate, so he must conduct his own analysis. The data he has requested is necessary to do so. End quote. That by itself is a pretty good summary, but a few other important bits can be seen later on where it says, quote, if Twitter is confident in its publicized spam estimates, Mr. Musk does not understand the company's reluctance to allow Mr. Musk to independently evaluate those estimates, end quote. And then lastly, based on Twitter's behavior to date and the company's latest correspondence in particular, Mr. Musk believes the company is actively resisting and thwarting his information rights and the company's corresponding obligations under the merger agreement. This is a clear material breach of Twitter's obligations under the merger agreement, and Mr. Musk reserves all rights resulting therefrom, including his right not to consummate the transaction and his right to terminate the merger agreement. End quote. Essentially, Twitter is refusing to give Elon Musk any access to their raw data when it comes to fake, botted, or spam accounts, which he has a legal right to see. And this constitutes a breach of contract, so effectively he can walk away without penalty. Now, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of specific legal rhetoric and what it all means because A, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not qualified, and B, I just don't care. But my understanding is this. Twitter is required to give Elon Musk access to any information that he needs to accurately inform his purchase. That's not really my understanding, that's just objectively how it is. Ergo, spam account statistics, that would fall into that category. However, Twitter is not required to show him anything if it will harm their business in the process. Now, Elon Musk has been quite clear that he intends to operate under a non-disclosure agreement and keep all confidential information private. It's in that same letter that we just read some of, so I really don't see how they can deny him this request. They might be able to argue that he is completely reckless online, posting information on a whim and manipulating markets in the process with social media. Maybe that could work, I don't know, but the way I see it, he is buying a company and he has every right to know precisely what that company contains. Pretty straightforward, right? Not so much. Twitter actually has a very long history with the topic of spam or fake accounts. And to really get a grasp of this, we need to go all the way back to 2013 and their IPO, their initial public offering. In their Form S1, before the company even went public, Twitter made a great many statements of fact about the company. One of those statements is rather interesting when we look at it through the lens of a now imploding buyout, and that statement reads as follows, quote, "We currently estimate that false or spam accounts represent less than 5% of our MAUs, monthly active users. However, this estimate is based on an internal review of a sample of accounts, and we apply significant judgment in making this determination. As such, our estimation of false or spam accounts may not accurately represent the actual number of such accounts, and the actual number of false or spam accounts could be higher than we have currently estimated." End quote. Now, to me, that's really indicative of where their head is at, because they didn't say higher or lower than what we have estimated. They specifically only said higher on numerous occasions in the document. That means that they underrepresented and are saying, well, it actually could be a lot higher. But if they did a really comprehensive and they tried to be pinpoint accurate with that assessment, then they would say, well, it could be slightly higher or slightly lower, but we're pretty confident. It's not going to be one-sided like that. Oh, it might be a lot more than we said. That's really interesting as just a basic concept, because the entire premise that Elon Musk has chosen to leverage is that Twitter falsely represents the 5% metric through deliberate inadequate testing methods. Here's an example. On May 13th, Musk tweeted, quote, "Any sensible random sampling process is fine. If many people independently get similar results for a percentage of fake spam duplicate accounts, that will be telling. I picked 100 as the sample size number because that is what Twitter uses to calculate less than 5% fake spam duplicate," end quote. And then underneath, Twitter legal just called to complain that I violated their NDA, their non-disclosure agreement, by revealing the bot check sample size is 100. This actually happened, end quote. Now, on the one hand, this absolutely does make it easier for Twitter to say, look, he just tweets out random shit. We can't trust him with any real info. But on the other hand, if true, that is not a statistically relevant sample size. They need to be doing far more adequate testing to actually understand these metrics. And as a further corroboration, we can look at the Washington Post on that very same day, which claims, quote, "That 5% is a very opportune and chosen metric," said a former employee who spoke on the condition of anonymity to not alienate a former employer. "They didn't want to be too big, but also not small, because then they could get caught in a lie," end quote. Whether or not you trust the media narrative of anonymous sources, I know I have my own skepticism, it's up to you. But to me, there is a very clear narrative emerging. Twitter has always had a problem with fake accounts because inauthentic activity on their platform is a critical issue in their business model. They have claimed since IPO that there are quite clearly less than 5% of users who are fake, and yet, if Elon Musk is to be believed here, they are upset over the fact that their methodology of using a 100 account sample size got leaked. They are now trying to deny him access to business critical information, and all of this in tandem is allowing him to make a claim of material breach of contract, then opening the door for him to simply walk away. That's the door being opened, but why would it get kicked off the hinges? Simply put, Elon Musk walking away is a financially negative thing for Twitter shareholders. As it stands, they are set to receive a very large sale bonus on the current share price if the deal goes through. But if Elon Musk successfully demonstrates that Twitter tanked the deal by denying him critical information or lying, well, Twitter shareholders are already suing Elon Musk himself and Twitter for their purported handling of this deal. So what do we expect will happen if the entire thing falls apart, voiding the breakup fee as well, and legally speaking, all because Twitter itself caused a breach of contract through either obfuscation or lies? Furthermore, disputing a corporate metric that has been advertised to all of their shareholders for the past 9 straight years is not a small thing. If Elon Musk were to prove that there is indeed 20% or more fake accounts on the platform, that is a 4 times multiple over their estimation and would be a catastrophic misrepresentation of material fact. The door would come off its hinge because shareholders would be in a position where they had been lied to for the better part of a decade, only to eventually find out after the company destroyed a deal that would have allowed them a significant payday. So all in all, really not good. No one actually knows the percentage of inauthentic users on Twitter except probably Twitter. And Elon Musk is entitled to that information if they do know it, if he's going to buy the platform. You don't buy a house without walking through it and checking for holes. Is the floor there? Are the walls there? At least not a $44 billion house. The problem arises when Twitter gives him any excuse to walk away, which in my opinion he's trying to do, by obfuscating or dragging their feet. And the problem gets even more severe when we realize the long-standing track record that they have with this particular claim. Should that claim prove to be wildly inaccurate, the claim of 5% or less, they will be in serious trouble. If the deal falls through, probably serious trouble. Basically, no matter how I look at this, Twitter is in a weakened position while Elon Musk has already extracted significant value from the deal in effectively every single way other than actually buying the platform. To further demonstrate why I personally believe that his exit plan will probably easily succeed, because maybe it wasn't clear enough already, in 2017, according to research from the University of Southern California as well as Indiana University, as many as 48 million Twitter bot accounts were deemed to be fake, or regular Twitter accounts were deemed to be bot accounts, with near to 15% of the platform's user base being inauthentic as per their criteria. With over 1,000 different data point features used to make this determination and a sample size of 10,000, this research would indicate that there are 2 to 3 times as many bots on the platform compared to what Twitter has publicly claimed for about 9 to 10 years. AKA, Elon Musk almost certainly can make the claim that this alters business prospects of the platform post-merger. Effectively ripcord pulled. Bottom line, I was right. Elon Musk is, again, okay, so slight speculation here, but I'm like pretty damn sure I'm right. Elon Musk is tanking the deal using bot traffic as a pretext on purpose after benefiting from it by liquidating billions of dollars in Tesla stock for that deal under the pretext of that deal. And on his way out, he could spur investor lawsuits and various other actions against Twitter's board of directors or any number of things. Good or bad, your call. That's it. If you want to support, there are links down below, primarily locals or Patreon. It's a great way to diversify away from AdSense, monthly fee, right, if you want to do that. Also, merch. I have a limited run product available soon, but more on that in future videos with like a visual and details. There are social media links, another YouTuber to check out, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.